Well, here we are back at Grandpa Gary's Jaguar MK2 adventure. It's been an awful long time. A little update video of what's been going on. Aside from working on the car, I've been dealing with the fact that my camera acted up. I bought another camera, and then when I got that all squared away, my computer broke down and I bought a new computer, and then I had a whole lot of trouble finding out how to use it and use the new software that I bought for it and everything. But anyway, here we go. The front right fender or wing has been finally replaced, and that's installed, and it's been welded into place. The wheel arch has been redone. Nothing has been finished yet. It's all just welded in. The sill has been installed on the passenger side, pardon me. The A-pillar was removed, or the sill was removed, separated from the A-pillar and the B and the C-pillar. These cuts were made here. This piece was cut out to facilitate removal of the original sill, and the original sill was removed. This was all reinstalled, the new sill, and it was quite an ordeal actually. There's a lot of trouble, a lot of patience required, but it's installed now, and as I said, finishing work is required. I also was able to finish most of the work on the right rear inner fender well. All of the welding inside that's closed off now has been completed, and the fender well, the inner fender well, has been refitted with a new patch. And that now some of this welding looks pretty rough, and that, however, everything is really secure. The problem I had, because essentially I'm a newbie when it comes to welding, although I have to admit I'm learning. I mean, this takes time, but anybody undertaking these tasks has to go through a pretty stiff learning curve. So I found that dealing with the old metal and installing new metal was problematic. It was very difficult to maintain concise, continual welding settings. What worked at one point, maybe when I moved to a different part of the chassis or the body didn't work, and I had blow-throughs, and that made things really tough, because then you have to refit, you have to cut a new patch, or you have to change your approach, and all the while you're trying not to make any mistakes, and you're trying to do the best job possible. There was a perforation up here, it might have been in a previous video I showed. That was cut out. I was actually just going to fiberglass over that, and I decided, you know what, I don't want to start going down that path unless I absolutely have no options, because I sort of feel the quality will start to slip, and as it is, it's compared to a professional shop. This probably is raising some eyebrows here, what I've done, but I'm doing the best I can, and that's all you can ask for. Just yesterday I removed this trim piece that was in here so that I could access this area here and try and fix this little bit of corrosion and rust here. Also, the trim piece that was removed is pop riveted onto this at the factory, and I drilled out those pop rivets, but I'm going to fix the trim piece I have to add some metal. I think it's the bottom 3 inches. Yeah, it was pretty much disappeared, so I'm going to have to fab up an extension of the existing trim piece, and I'll walk to the other side of the building. Excuse me, I'll walk to the other side of the vehicle here, and I'll show you the trim piece I'm referring to in that. So this turned out better than I thought it would, although I have to admit I tried something that I saw in Fitzy's Fabrications, and he uses this tactic a lot. A lot of people do that are experienced. I tried cut and butting this portion of the new replacement fender well, patch panel, and I made a hack job of it. I really did. I was able to start the cutting, but it wasn't going too badly. But the problem I was faced with was I actually essentially re-welded the old metal underneath. It cut through, but I should have pulled it away as I did this, because what ended up happening is the original piece that was left that I tried to cut away sprung back, and I ended up welding it to my new patch panel. And what a pain. So what I ended up doing is I cut the welds that I had made. I had made some tack welds. I cut those. I removed the patch that I originally was going to install, and I just cut out the original piece of metal that would have been cut away through the cut and butt process, and then reinstalled this. But in the process of doing that, I made quite a few mistakes insofar as the seam went, and I have pinholes here, so I have to deal with that. And there's some high spots here, and there's a lot of touch-up work required. But the fender is welded to the new sill, and that's done here. And all of the bottom of the inner fender down in this area here, it's probably too dark. I should have had a light with me, but has been welded up in that. And I have to do some finishing job and some corrosion prevention work in that. This area here has to be trimmed down. It's a little too wide. The new patch panel inner fender weld, as it comes up here, it isn't quite the same contour. So that's one other thing I just wanted to mention. You know, the patch panels are from Martin Roby, and these were bought many years ago by the previous owner, but never installed. Now, I'm not knocking the quality, but like I think with anything, the patch panels, they don't fit exactly the same. And I'm learning that about Jaguars, how they were basically a tailor-made vehicle. Each one is unique. And so when it comes to fitting patch panels and finalizing the installation and everything, there's a lot of body work, dolly work, whatever, trimming, you name it, and gently persuading with a hammer to get things to work, to fit. The B-pillar here, actually I was a little afraid of this after some of the things that I had read, but I made my cuts, had to cut this part off and remove the section here, pull that away, and I think I showed that before in a different video, but that's been re-welded in. But that's why all this bracing was kind of installed. You know, I realize it's not up to, you know, it's not welded in bracing or anything like that, but I have an old Practical Classics magazine about renovating or refinishing or restoring these Mark IIs, and in there they use the wooden bracing. So I thought I'd give it a try, and it seems to be working. Everything seems to fit. I did have the doors temporarily installed, and believe it or not, you know, I was surprised. The seams and everything look pretty darn good. Of course, there's going to be some adjustment required with the doors, but it's close. So I kind of lucked out, I guess. But anyway, it's yeah, it's going to be continuing here. Probably I'm going to have to shut the project down for a month or two here. I'm going to be working on something else that I got going, and I'm going to be away for most of the summer. But come August, we'll be restarting the project. Here are some. I've just been kind of putting these paint swatches on here just to get a feel for some of the colors I might choose, and so far I haven't seen anything that really appeals to me. But okay, I'm going to show you the other trim piece on the other side here, on the driver's side, and it was this piece here that I've removed over on the passenger side. But in here on that side was it's all corroded, so I drilled these out. I'm going to repair the I'm going to repair the trim piece for the passenger side, and I'm going to be reinstalling it and try and get that out of the way before I have to shut the project down for the summer. In that, the next order of business after that's done is underneath here, driver's side rear quarter panel. Underneath here is severely corroded, and the bumper attach point on the back has been severely compromised. You can't see that, of course, from the outside, but I'm going to have to actually cut this away. And I have a new piece, a new body panel that'll actually fit in our patch panel. I'm going to end up utilizing that. And the reason for that, I want to get this section done. I want to begin the driver's side repairs fairly quickly in August, because I'm going to start here. And the reason for that is I'm going to be able to install the fuel tank, which is underneath here, sitting here. I'd like to get that all buttoned up and have the new fuel tank installed and get that sorted out and hooked up. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention is, in the process of installing the sill that I just showed you, you have to remember that the wiring harness is installed inside the sill. And if you don't have a wiring harness or a new one to install, or the old one, I highly advise you to wait before you install this until you get your wiring harness. Now, I got a complete new harness for the whole car, and after, well, given the Canadian exchange rate with the American dollar and everything, this is from British Wiring. The main harness is $650 US, and I bought all the other ancillary harnesses, which is one of which is this harness here, and which reaches out into the trunk. And this isn't obviously installed. This has to be routed up into along here, and then in through here and back into the trunk or the boot. But anyway, it was Canadian dollars spent getting this here, with shipping, the exchange rate, duties, whatever. It came to $1,700, and that's without the tariffs. And so anyway, that's pretty stiff. So I don't know how this is going to pan out. Well, the job's going to get done, that's for sure, but it's going to slow things up, because that's a lot of money to fork out, and this is not a top of the line, any way, shape, or form restoration. This is my hobby to keep me occupied in my retirement, and I want to be able to enjoy it, but I don't want to have to mortgage the house to finish this job. And so I'm going to have to put my thinking cap on, probably when it comes to other things. Maybe try to get by with what I've got and repair or refurbish to the best of my ability what I have. So that's something I'm contemplating right now. I'm going to see how things work out. You never know. Maybe what I'm looking for here is actually a donor car. I wouldn't mind finding a standard transmission with the clutch assembly and everything to bolt onto the back of the XK that's sitting over there underneath the plastic. That's another thing. This fall I plan on removing the head for the engine and having a look at that. I'm going to tear this part down. This part I will be familiar with, because I've been a mechanic for over 50 years. So I want to get this outside and start cleaning, and I want to tear everything down. This is the 3.8 liter 8-to-1 compression engine. It's partially disassembled, but I want to remove the head, and I want to have a good look at the head, and I want to see the valve train, look at everything there. And I might take it with me when we go away for the winter. I found an engine shop that's willing to take the job on should I need to get the head refurbished. But that all depends on what I find. I actually prefer to clean it, and then tear the whole engine down and inspect everything and see what exactly what I've got to work with here. And if the engine is toast, which I hope it isn't, apparently this was running at some point just before it was put away about 18 years ago. But if the engine is beyond redemption, and it's going to have to be really bad, then I'm going to have to look at alternatives. I'm not sure about that yet. That's too far off in the future, but we'll see what goes there. But this part of the project is what's going to happen in fall. And so that next thing, after the new metal is installed here, as you can see, I'm going to epoxy primer the pieces I've installed, seam seal, paint, do corrosion control. And by the way, everything that you see that's installed here, including the inside of the patch panels, but especially inside the sill, that was all prepped. It was weld-proof primer put in there, and then lots of other paint and anti-corrosion stuff in there to keep everything at bay. Everything's been plug welded in, top, here, and underneath. That's all done. And so I'm hoping, well, it'll last. I mean, as soon as you fix something and you start driving, you know, this hopefully will be a sunny day driver. It would be unreasonable to expect that rust wouldn't start at some point, but I've done the best I can, and I think she's going to be pretty good that way. I don't think the rust is going to start giving us trouble immediately, but you know, we'll just see how well things go here. One thing for sure is I'll always be watching the car, and if I start to see any issues, well, I guess I wanted something to keep me occupied, and I guess that's going to fill the bill. So I'm planning on beginning to epoxy primer what I've got here. On the other side, I have some repairs, bodywork repairs to complete before I can actually think of doing the painting and the priming. I have to fix this. The hood hinge assembly is compromised in this area. The metal here was rusted through, and what I found in there is rather interesting. Somebody took a bunch of epoxy plus I guess it was short strand fiber glass Bondo and God knows what else, and they gobbed it all in here to kind of give it some substance, and then drilled holes and mounted put the screws and bolts through to give this left hinge something to hang on to. But you can see what I'm up against here is basically duplicating exactly what was on the other side. There's lots and lots and lots of perforation and indication that I've got troubles here. There's all kinds of things here that are corroded, and I'd have to be crawling underneath to show you everything. But I guess this sums it up to, you know, in here, this is the left rear jacking point, or as you can see, what's left of it. Yeah, I can pull that almost out by hand. So I have to rebuild this frame rail back here, just like I did over on the other side. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a little bit of a process, that's for sure. So, I've got myself a plasma cutter now, and so that's going to help maybe expedite the repairs and disassembly. I'll have to be careful though. I've used air arc before, but plasma cutter, well, it could be a real great tool to help me out and save time, or it could get me into trouble too. So I'll have to carefully think about how I'm going to actually utilize that. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to shut the video off, and I apologize to anybody who I have had a few people subscribe to the channel. And in all honesty, I can't blame them if they've unsubscribed, because this has been too off and on for too long. But all I can say is if you, well, anybody who's been doing this already knows, but if you're contemplating doing any kind of YouTube video channel stuff, make sure you back up all your material and your files at least in 2 separate places and save everything, because I got myself into a bit of a pickle that way, and that is really difficult to overcome. You start getting your files all corrupted and mixed up or lost, then you got a problem. But anyway, that's it for now. Grandpa Gary signing off for the Jaguar Mark II adventure. Bye bye.